Hey there, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. So I was doing a Bright Lifers coaching call recently and someone wrote in with a question of how to respond when her husband shows in various ways that he's not happy with her Bright Line Eating program. She says basically her husband lets her know in these little ways that he doesn't like the time that she devotes to Bright Line Eating, listening to calls and watching videos and being on the phone with people. And I think there were some ways that he also wasn't really happy with the food piece. Maybe she was eating earlier now or not cooking the same foods or and he was just showing that he wasn't happy about it. She said that he did like her weight loss, but in general, she didn't feel very supported in her Bright Line Eating journey. And I just want to take some time to express, first of all, that partners and loved ones really can go through a lot when we start doing Bright Line Eating and become very devoted to it. It's a big, big change in their lives that they didn't sign up for. Especially like if it's a life partner and they sort of signed on to be with you when you did your food that other way, right? It's a big change, especially because food is such a bonding, shared experience, shared social experience for many people. And certainly in a lot of cultures, and having a partner opt out of the prior co-created shared way of doing food is a very big deal. And if you do Bright Line Eating fully the way a lot of folks do, it also takes a lot of time. Now, on the other end, it creates time for those of us who are really high on the susceptibility scale and used to spend an inordinate amount of time eating food, thinking about food, not being focused on our lives hardly at all. I mean, I spend a lot of hours a week doing Bright Line Eating, and I'm also more freed up, ironically, to do other things in my life because my food is in its place. I mean, you can ask my husband or anyone who knows me, when my program is solid and my lines are super bright, I'm such an effective, productive person. When I'm in the food, forget about it. You can't count on me for practically anything. I'm a mess. So, you know, it's an interesting conundrum that we can spend a lot of time on Bright Line Eating and still actually have more time left over on the other end. But that's not something necessarily that someone who's low on the susceptibility scale would understand. They'll see the time that we spend watching videos, listening to calls, on the phone, prepping food, and so forth, and basically see it as time that is taken away and that you're not spending with them anymore. So what I want to do in this vlog is to provide a conversation script for a conversation that I have found really, really helpful and efficacious for people to have with a partner or a loved one who seems to be unhappy in any kind of way. Really, this conversation would work for a partner who isn't showing any signs of being unhappy with Bright Line Eating as well, but especially if the partner seems not happy with Bright Line Eating. I want to provide a conversation script, and there is a link below to a sheet called the Fail-Safe Feedback Framework. Now, this is not mine, but I'm using it and offering it with permission from Annie Hyman Pratt, who is the founder and CEO of Leading Edge Teams, which is a company that David and I and Bright Line Eating have been partnered with really pretty much since the beginning of Bright Line Eating. And what Leading Edge Teams does is they work with small online information-based companies like Bright Line Eating with a community and, you know, a small team of people leading this sort of online movement to work with their teams and make sure that meetings are running effectively and that the people part of running a team and an organization is smooth and functioning well. Essentially, they train our leaders, the people who handle Brightline Eating, the program delivery and the marketing and the technology and all the parts that make Brightline Eating work on the back end over here. Annie Hyman Pratt is incredible. She's so smart and so wise. And in particular, she's super helpful around how to have these critically important but tricky conversations where if you don't handle it well, you could really make it worse, actually. And if you do handle it well, you could really improve things immeasurably for the better. And this script that I've provided down below, the Fail-Safe Feedback Framework, the FFF, I use it all the time. All the time. I pretty much have the structure embedded within me now, so I can realize that a tricky conversation is in order and just, kind of start to talk. But at the beginning, I actually took notes. And I recommend that if you're going to attempt this with a partner or a loved one who's not so thrilled with your Brightline Eating journey, I actually recommend that you do print it off and take notes. And let them know, schedule the conversation and let them know that when you sit down to have it, that you have some notes that you've prepared for this conversation. I know that might feel a little embarrassing, but I promise it'll go really well. Like no one is ever offended that you thought of them and cared enough to actually prepare for a conversation with them. So bring your sheet of paper, take your notes, and it's okay to just even read it off, right? And yeah, you let them know, like, I prepared, this is super important, I really love you, and so I'm sitting down here, is it all right with you if I read my notes? And they'll be like, yeah, okay, sure, go ahead. So you start off this conversation by saying, I want to talk with you about my Brightline Eating program, so that we can get on the same page and we can both really get what we want and need out of our relationship, so that we can both just really feel great about our relationship. And then you could reference something maybe that just happened that gave you a little window into the idea that they weren't so happy with your Brightline Eating program. You could say, and then you have to say this incredibly neutrally, like just state a fact. You could say something like, so I noticed that the other night I was on my phone with my headphones in and listening to a Brightline Eating coaching call, and you said, are you on another call? And you could say then, what I was thinking is, I could hear in the tone I was thinking, doesn't sound like they're so happy with that. And then you could, right now in the I was thinking part, you have to be very careful not to judge them in any way, implicit or explicit, no judgment. But say some of the things you were thinking about. I was thinking that, it sounds like they're not that happy with the fact that I'm on another coaching call here. And I was also thinking, there have been other clues that maybe my Brightline Eating program isn't going over so well. And then say how you felt. And there you could just be honest. Feelings are unassailable. Like, people feel how they feel. So you could say, I felt angry, I felt hurt, I felt confused, I felt frustrated, whatever your feelings were. Just state your feelings. And then this is the part where you say, the impact. I want you to acknowledge the impact. Like, say, I just have been thinking about what an impact it's been on you since I started Brightline Eating, and how you didn't sign up for this, and and describe it. Say, we used to go out to eat and have long meals with wine and, dessert. And we used to, sleep in on Sunday mornings and have pancakes. And we used to go traveling and just eat whatever we wanted. And all these different things, right? I used to not have that many friends, so I wasn't on the phone that much. All the ways that you could imagine the impact, and acknowledge the impact and say, I'm doing things differently now, and the story I have in my head, that's a key phrase. I love that phrase. The story I have in my head is that it might really feel to you like I love you less, or like I'm wanting to spend less time with you. And my intention, what I really want, is for us to connect now more, not less. And my request is that we co-create ways to connect in this new world. Now, here's the piece that I really also want you to do. I want you to look them in the eye and explain to them the pain that you were in before and the things you struggled with before, especially if you're high on the susceptibility scale and they're low. They might not know how you used to struggle. If you used to struggle with self-hatred and you're getting freed up from that, if you used to obsess about what you were going to eat or not eat through most of the day, they might not be aware of that. I want you to express the things that used to be true and talk about the relief you've gotten and say, this Bright Line Eating program is really, really important to me, and I'm asking you for your support. It makes me really happy to do Bright Line Eating. It really works for me. And will you support me? And then you talk about your request to co-create ways to connect more in this new Bright Line Eating world, right? So it might be ways to connect over food that jointly work. It might be ways to connect not over food, to think deliberately together about walks and movies and puzzles and board games and shows and lovemaking and whatever it is that are ways that you can connect. And to think about when your relationship is best, and to express your desire to double down on the good things. And, you could finally just say something like, I'm feeling like a better version of myself, so I know that our relationship can be better because I'm bringing a better self to it. So, yeah, it's a very helpful thing to explicitly ask for their support. And this conversation script, the fail-safe feedback framework, anytime you have a tricky conversation with some feedback to give to somebody, I highly recommend that you read this over, take some notes, and use that conversation script. It has never, ever steered me wrong, and I have used it now so many times I couldn't even count. So that is my gift to you from Annie Hyman Pratt. That's the weekly vlog, and I'll see you next week.